Today, we're going to be covering one of the most popular questions, how to be aware of being aware, and how to do it more often during the day. To help us get started in the best way possible, I want to share a teaching with you from Ramana Maharshi. He said, "You are awareness. Awareness is another name for you. Since you are awareness, there is no need to attain or cultivate it. You see, it's just not about holding on to or maintaining awareness. I am awareness. I cannot help but to be aware ever presently. So it is more so about realizing this fact more and more deeply rather than trying to maintain a certain state. So in today's video, we're going to talk about it in a very practical way. Firstly, we're going to cover what holds us back from being aware of being aware. What makes us constantly feel like it is something that I have to maintain and I am horrible at maintaining it. And then, more guilt comes. And we're also going to then talk about, right, how to start sinking into this realization of my ever-present nature as awareness more and more. And on the practice front too, we'll really break it down, like how to bring this awareness of awareness into your day as you work, as you engage in your relationships, as you do personal things throughout the day. We'll talk about all of that. So let's get into the first thing. What holds us back from being aware of being aware? Why is it that we keep, quote unquote, losing it? Please notice deeply that you can either remain thinking about me and my life and what I want, what I don't want, what I like, what I don't like, past, future, or you can be aware of being aware. You cannot do both. So at all times, unknowingly, we are making a trade off. We are choosing thoughts over awareness. Now we have to start flip-flopping these. We have to start seeing that remaining lost in thoughts is of no benefit. This is just psychological chatter, which feeds the ego and creates all of our suffering. We have to become willing to trade thinkingness for awareness. There's a teaching that I encountered quite a while ago, early on in my path. It said, never trade anything for awareness, but for awareness, be willing to give up everything. And this teaching really touched me deeply when I encountered it, and I've held on to it ever since. And I found this to be so true. Being aware of being aware of our true being leads to peace, clarity, wisdom. It leads to these teachings making sense, insights finding us without effort. Whereas thinking only leads to more and more dysfunction in life, constant suffering, fear, anxiety, sense of like burden. So it's not that you can no longer think. That's not what the teaching is saying. But we do have to take an inventory of our thoughts and see how perhaps 95 or 99% of them is just psychological chatter that is completely meaningless. It's just an endless narration of me and my life and what's coming up for me, what I have been through. It's just these narratives that are feeding my self-image, which is not my real self to begin with. Practical thinking, thinking that is done to complete a task or used for work, it actually is a very minor portion of our thinking. And it almost happens spontaneously. In a way, we don't even do it. But that's the topic for a different video. We have to target the psychological chatter. What I have worked on in my practice, and what I would advise you to do so also, if you are looking to grow in this, is start to look at it as a trade-off. Be willing to surrender thinkingness to gain awareness of awareness. Sacrifice the lesser so that you can gain the greater. Trust me, your life will be much simpler for it. You will be much happier for it. And you will find that with it comes spontaneous and effortless spiritual growth. As Ramana Maharshi himself said, along with many other sages of the past, Silence is the highest teaching. What words cannot teach you or express to you, silence will begin to reveal from within. I have found in my practice that silence is the most valuable because in silence, we grow in awareness of our true nature. Things we could not have possibly comprehended, no matter how hard we mentally tried, they start to reveal themselves to us in silence. In silence, we begin to see things as they really are. We begin to see ourselves as I really am. The second thing that holds us back from being aware of being aware is being too focused in the world. This is very attached to the first point, right? Being lost in personal motives of what I like and don't like. One thing the reason I wanted to make a separate point of this is that notice how all motives, what I like, what I don't like, are focused in the world of sense perceptions. So as long as we are so attached to sensory experience, almost like we're living our entire life just for the sake of the next experience, what I can get next, what I can experience next, what other experience can I add to my bag of experiences so that I can feel like I have lived a better life or something like that. Then awareness of awareness is nearly impossible. Again, the trade-off that now you have to start making as an earnest seeker of truth is sacrificing the lesser for the greater. What is the lesser in this regard? The lesser is awareness of experience, or in other words, immersion in experience while neglecting your being, neglecting your awareness. When you are immersed in the realm of sense perceptions, the world, it's almost like we are hypnotized. Do you ever feel that way? When you're lost in thought, it's like during that time, you're just totally hypnotized. You're in like a hypnosis and you become the character that you are playing. You take all of this to be the ultimate reality. You know, in this hypnosis, we are so identified with the body, we are so identified as the person, and we completely like forget a deeper essence of who I am. In that hypnosis, my knowledge of myself, my knowledge of truth becomes so limited, contracted. And that's why I feel so bad. That's why we suffer so deeply in those states. So, my friend, if you wish to grow in this practice of awareness, start to surrender your attachment to sensory experience. This is sometimes a difficult teaching to swallow, but you yourself have to come to see in your experience that it is only our attachment to the sense perceptions and being lost in it that holds us back from being aware of being. There's a beautiful teaching in the Ashtavakra Gita. It says, I am pure awareness, bound only due to my thirst for life. Bound only due to my thirst for life. Desire for sense objects, attachment to desires is what brings us into this hypnosis in which we become totally cut off from a deeper sense of what I am. We get cut off from truth. And that's what creates all of our suffering. So if you feel like this teaching resonates with you and if you feel ready, then start to make the sacrifice on the life level, like on the personal life level. All of these things that I'm saying sometimes sound threatening. Like, how could you say that? Or you're just going to become like an empty log. You're just going to become one of those crazy spiritual people that doesn't do anything. But that none of that stuff is true. That is all your mind trying to run away from this, trying to run away from the unknown, because all it knows is attachment to sense objects. All it knows is to seek a sense of reality in transient experiences. That smallness we have to come to acknowledge and surrender. Once again, we cannot gain the greater if we are so attached to the lesser. This is a trade-off that you cannot shortcut your way around. Ultimately, you have to observe that as long as your mind remains outward turned, constantly just attached to the next experience and the next experience, awareness of being is impossible. So now the third thing that holds us back from being aware of being aware is this feeling that I am the mind and body and I am the doer of my life. I am in charge of the unfoldment of my life. Now, this is where the teaching of surrender comes in. When I encountered the teaching of surrender, I was also afraid. I also had my resistances, and I'm still not perfect at it. However, I started to practice to whatever degree I could, surrendering this feeling like I need to figure out my future. And I started to explore and welcome the teaching and embrace the teaching that everything just happens, that I only appear to be the doer, but everything, including my thought, speech, and action, is happening according to a deeper and subtler intelligence that is much vaster than my intellect. That is not separate from me, right? To say that it is a separate intelligence from you is also not true, but it surely is not your mind. If anything, our mind is like an instrument of that intelligence to conduct its business through. So there's great teachings on surrender by many teachers that I've encountered. But since we're covering some of Ramana Maharshi's teachings today, I'll share with you, a few of his other teachings. And these aren't word for word, but Ramana Maharshi constantly tells us that we only have the illusion of doership. He also says that whatever is meant for you, you can try as hard as you want to not make it happen. It will still happen. And whatever is not meant for you, you can try as hard as you want to make it happen, but it will not happen. He says, why get on the train and hold your luggage on your head the entire time? He says to us, the train carries all loads. So now that you're on this train of life, set your luggage down and be at ease. Don't be so troubled by thoughts of what I should do, what I must do, and instead start to embrace the unfoldment of your destiny. So when we start to live in this way, we start to embrace all experiences as they come and go. We start to become like the empty vessel in which experiences are coming and going. We are no longer the like taking shape as the body mind that is in the experience, in the world, doing. Instead, you are the awareness in which experience is appearing and disappearing. Can you see how this frees up your mind so much to just be aware of being aware, to be aware of things as they really are? A feeling of doership, attachment to the idea I am the doer, which, by the way, is another definition for ego. The definition for ego is I am the doer. So this feeling I am the doer keeps us contracted in beliefs about how things are, always in distortion, which is why therefore we suffer. Awareness of being, on the other hand, surrender, starts to open us up to how things truly are. They bring us out of belief. They help us to let go of so many erroneous beliefs and assumptions that we didn't even know we were making. This is then you start to like ride the wave of life, the train of life with your luggage, no longer on your head, but next to you. I can understand that living in this way is difficult. So what we've been doing is we've been creating a lovely community. It's completely free to join, where people from this channel, it's a very small community, but it's lovely. We have lovely people there who are also willing to help each other. And, it's just so much easier to practice these teachings and stay consistent when you're doing it with other people. So if that's of interest to you and you want support and you want a network and a community of other seekers from around the world who are also practicing these teachings, make sure to join below. I'll link it down. It'll be the first link in the description. And also, if you're new here and if you're enjoying this video, consider liking the video and subscribing. It does go a long way. So now let's do two more things. First, let's do like a quick, maybe 3 to 5 minute guidance on being aware of being aware, because I don't want you to walk away from this video with a bunch of conceptual knowledge only. I like to, on every single video, practice with you, so let's practice being aware of being aware. And then after the guidance, I'll also share with you some tips to bring this more and more so in your day so that you can really start to realize your ever-present nature. So for a few moments, settle into a meditative space. And what that means is allow everything in this moment that you're with me to not matter. Anything that your mind brings up for the moment does not matter. You don't even have to close your eyes. You can if you want. But just let this moment be enough as it is. Don't need anything from it. Don't want anything from it. Don't try to get anywhere with it. Don't even try to make awareness of awareness happen. Just settle down. Become empty of all motives. What you are being guided towards here is not an action. It's not a doing. Don't even worry about if you're doing this correctly or not, or if what you're doing is enough or not. Just let go of all concern. Right now, we're just together. Feel the purity of life in this moment. Isn't it funny when we let go of wants and needs and concerns? Life becomes utterly simple here and now. Being, presence, becomes noticeable. Notice that there's awareness of this experience. You are aware of the sound of my voice, the appearance of the body, the sensations of your own body. There's awareness of. You're not trying to be aware of your body. There's just awareness of the body. There's just awareness of this experience as it is. Even the mind, which is describing so many things right now, perhaps, there's just awareness of that also. Take a moment to notice that you are aware. You're not being asked to do anything with it. Don't try to go deep into it. Don't try to make something out of it. It's just a simple noticing, not for any benefit or gain, just a noticing. Notice right now that there's awareness. And I'm not doing this awareness. When you are noticing this awareness very simply, you're not lost in thoughts. There's no thoughts operating at that point about who I am and what life is. It's just a total emptiness of personhood. You have emptied out personhood just by that simple moment of awareness, This is all you have to start practicing. And in the beginning, it seems like a chore when the mind is like a restless beast. But the only way to tame the restless beast is to keep bringing it inward into this simple noticing. But the shift that I wish to propose to you today is like, don't feel like it is a job or a responsibility or a chore that you're doing this. See it as the greatest opportunity of a lifetime that you have been even given this practice. You know, the teaching has come into our experience. We are truly, truly blessed. Don't think of it as a chore. When you start to experience that bringing the mind inward in this way by just the simple noticing of awareness, how it starts to bring you so much peace, so much joy, so much clarity, then it will become the main priority of your life. When you start to truly see little by little that all spiritual wisdom and knowledge flows from just this simple little noticing of your awareness, you will fall in love with it. You will be willing to trade your entire personal life for it. That may sound so extreme, but perhaps you have already experienced that. So if you want more guidances and meditations on being aware of being aware, I've done plenty on YouTube here. You can just search it up. And also there are a couple of them in our free group, so you can look at it there when you join. But let's now get into how to bring this more in our day-to-day life. So the first thing I wish to say to you is have a formal meditation practice, which you do twice per day for 20 minutes each session. Now, a lot of people want to practice awareness of awareness during the day, but what they keep doing is running away from the sit down meditation practice. Whereas it is the sit down meditation practice that is our foundation from which flows awareness of awareness during the day also. Can you imagine, like, if you have never exercised in your life and you try to go to the gym and lift like 500 pounds, you will not succeed, and like it's just not going to be fun. That's like the same thing when people try to practice these teachings in the great rapid momentum of their daily personal life, where they are totally lost in personal motives and desires and fears, but they keep running away from the foundation. You have to have a strong foundation from where you can cultivate a greater and greater capacity to be aware, even in the strong momentum of mind and world. I'm not saying it's entirely impossible. And I'm not saying to just only become obsessed with your sit down practice and neglect the day, but see it this way: your sit down practice is the foundation. The rest is, during the day, that is the rest of our practice. So put that into place right now. One time in the morning for 20 minutes, you get away from all distractions. You close your eyes and you practice being aware of being aware, not with guided meditation, not with any words. You sit with yourself. Get comfortable sitting with yourself. If you can't sit still for 20 minutes a day within yourself, with your eyes closed, it's very unlikely that you'll be able to do this during the day. And if you really want to get better at doing this during the day, stop fighting silence. Just sit and simplify your life, simplify your spiritual path. That's my advice. You do it one time in the morning for 20 minutes, and you do one time in the evening for 20 minutes. During these periods, let go of the person you take yourself to be. Let go of all your cares and worries and desires and whatever else. And just keep bringing your noticing to this simple awareness, which is already here. Keep making this sacrifice of the lesser, and the greater will actually keep asserting itself. You don't even have to reach for it. It will keep asserting itself. The more open you become and the more willing you become to sacrifice attachment to thought. Now, during the day, while you are also, okay, so it's not like you only do the sit down meditation. Start the sit down meditation today if you haven't already. And then during the day, try at least 10 times. And when you actually try this, it will come more often. But let's say like 10 times, where during the day, whenever you remember, you just in that moment become empty. Let go of all chatter, all thought, all wants and not wants, and just notice that there's awareness of this experience. I'm not saying that you should think, oh, I'm aware of experience. No, even the thought, I am aware of experience, there's awareness of. Be aware of the very fact that there's awareness here and now. Notice your presence or this feeling of I, right? This experience has this sense that I am experiencing this. Hone in on that sense, I. Brings you to the same thing. Just for like 5 to 10 seconds. And then you may get totally lost in the hypnosis again. But one thing you'll find is that when you have your sit down practice established as a foundation, and you try to do this maybe 10 times, this will happen more and more and more. You will start to notice so much more often that you were just lost in thought. And then in those moments, forget about it. You don't have to feel guilty or anything. You could be lost all day in thought, doesn't matter. But the moment you notice, that's your opportunity for practice. And in that moment, you just become empty of all personal concern and desire and thinking. And you just notice, I am. Become aware of this sense, I. Be aware that you are aware. You can take any of these angles into your practice. They all lead you to the same thing. And that's the beautiful thing about it. So whatever resonates with you. But you do this as often as you remember during the day. Try in the beginning at least 10 times. It sounds like a lot, but actually you'll see that like you may just go in one morning, you notice 10 times. So be open to anything, okay? Don't limit yourself by like predicting what your practice may look like or what it has looked like. So that's therefore I can't do this. Forget about all that. Start fresh today. Hold absolutely no pressure on yourself that you have to do this practice. Just become genuinely interested and curious about awareness. And just make it a habit to simply notice the awareness which is always there. In any moment, you realize that I was just lost in the hypnosis, in thoughts. In that moment, awareness is there. So just notice the awareness rather than going off into further thinking about, oh my God, I should have practiced and I feel guilty for not practicing and I'm so bad at this. That's just another self narrative that will keep on feeding the ego. Instead, become empty of it and just return to simple awareness of awareness. And now the last thing I will say to you for how to bring this more and more so in your life and in your day is commit to your spiritual growth, my friend. There's a beautiful teaching in the Gita. Krishna advises us. Again, it's not word for word, but he advises us along the lines of make your spiritual goal, which is self-realization, realization of truth, oneness with your source, the highest pursuit of your entire existence. And from that will flow everything else. But, you know, a lot of us say that that's our highest purpose and that's what we want. But if you really take an inventory of your thinking and your behavior and your priorities, you find that we are just chasing experiences and pleasure. You know, so once again, the lesser has to be sacrificed for the greater. But the good news is when you lead with your spiritual purpose, when everything in your life becomes about awakening to the truth of who you are, even your personal purpose will flow from that. And it's not like you're going to start sharing these teachings on YouTube, although you may. Whatever your personal, unique purpose that is very individual and unique to you, that will naturally unravel through inspiration once you align yourself to your real life purpose, which is spiritual awakening. It's almost like you become totally willing to even like surrender your entire personal life. And you're always afraid of that because you feel like you're going to lose something. But only when you become willing to surrender it all, now a greater sense of purpose, joy, freedom starts to come into even your personal life. It's a crazy thing how it works. And I wish it wasn't this hard, but it is. And we do have to take that leap of faith. So have the strength, have the courage. Consider nothing else more important than your spiritual awakening. Being right in all your arguments is not as important as learning what you can from that situation and observing your own reactions and triggers. Whether your desires come to fulfillment or not, personally, is not ultimately that important. Pursue your desires, but don't be so attached to them. Live life as it comes. Enjoy this experience. Let what comes come, let what goes go. Embrace your destiny. That is an attitude that actually puts spiritual growth first and personal life second. I could go on forever with examples, but these are just a few. Prioritize your spiritual growth. From that awareness of being, awareness of your true nature will flow automatically. So that is what I'll leave you with today. I've talked enough, I think. Let me know if this video resonated with you and what point specifically connected with you the most. I love hearing from you and I like your feedback. So share that with us in the comments below. And also let me know if you've been watching till the end. I know this was and this ended up being a very long video. So let me know. But again, if you want support with this and you want to connect with other people, I'm very selective in who I allow in the group. So because I really want this community to continue being as beautiful as it is. So request to join, fill out the little survey that I have. That's the only way I'm able to filter like who's really serious about this, who genuinely is trying to practice these things. The people who are not, then I don't allow them in. So if you want to connect with us and be on this journey together with us, I invite you to join. Okay. That's all for today. I'll see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.